So on my 7 days, 6 nights tour to Singapore, we visited world's tallest indoor waterfall, world's largest greenhouse, which is Flower Dome, world's tallest dueling roller coaster, which is Battlestar Galactica, oldest museum in Singapore, world's second tallest Ferris wheel at Singapore Flyer, then world's largest tropical orchid garden, tallest merlion in the Singapore's tallest point, which is Bukit Timah, then Asia's largest bird park, world's tallest al fresco bar at altitude, and whatnot. So we had so much fun. And after watching this fun on my vlog, my friends started asking me, hey bro, how did you manage to do this trip? How did you plan it? And what is the actual budget you had planned for? And what are the expenses, etc., etc. So the purpose behind this video is simple. The objective is to share my expense details, then to tell you how to plan a trip to Singapore and how to enjoy trip to Singapore with minimum cost and maximum benefits. So I am going to divide this video in 3 parts. So first part would be pre-planning, in which I will be planning whole of the tour and booking the attractions. Then second part would be on-tour booking. And third part would be the conveyance and food. So I will be explaining you all the expenses in INR, which is Indian rupee, and SGD, which is Singapore dollar terms. Let's begin. So at first stage, pre-planning and booking, we planned the whole of the itinerary. So there were 2 friends of mine actually joined me on the tour, and we visited Singapore for a week, 2nd of the October to 8th of the October. That is the whole week which we got. The first step when you plan any tour is to book the return ticket. So we bought a ticket at 23,423 rupees. And it was a Malaysian Airlines. But if you plan and go through all the tickets on skyscanner.com, then my gut feeling is you would be able to book a ticket as low as 18,000. So there you can save almost 5,000 rupees. And that is the first step to go to any country. First, to book your ticket. Second thing is visa. So for visa, you can go through agent. It costed me around 2,500 bucks. And for visa, I will tell you what all documentations are required for Singapore visa. First is return ticket. Second thing is accommodation. And third thing is the itinerary which you have planned. And of course, the passport. So these 3 things you give to an agent. He will be applying for the tourist visa and it will be in your hand within 7 days. I got the visa done at 2,500 rupees. So return tickets and visa costed me 25,923 rupees. While explaining all this cost to you, you can see right here on top right corner, I have provided the playlist link to my Singapore vlog. So don't miss that. You will be getting a whole of the experience of how I actually enjoyed the trip. Coming now to accommodation. So we actually searched a lot. And the plan was, to book accommodation which is not very much expensive. But at the same time, we wanted an accommodation which would be having facilities like Wi-Fi, air condition, of course. So going through the booking.com, Make My Trip, Trivago, we got a lot of information about the hotels. We finally decided to book Green Delhi Backpackers Hostel, which is in the prime location in Singapore near Ferrer Park metro station. We actually planned that and finalized that hostel because it was near to metro station, first thing. Then tourist attractions were also nearby. And the third thing, it was near to Little India. So we were actually, 3 of us were vegetarians. And when you travel to other country, if you are vegetarian, then the food is the main issue. So Little India is the place where you can get vegetarian food ample. That costed me 4,727 rupees only. Guys, I am not joking. 4,727 rupees for 6 nights, 7 days. And that too including breakfast. So that's where the catch is, where I saved money a lot. More about the hostel. Now the thing is, it was in co-sharing basis, so bunker beds kind of a thing, where I shared room with 5 guys more. So there were 6 of us in same room. The services, Wi-Fi was good, the accommodation was good, the bed and the toilets were clean. So you can go for Green Delhi Backpackers Hostel. You can go through all customer reviews and testimonials on makemytrip.com, and then you will find that to be good one. So coming next to attractions booking. When you plan a trip, an overseas trip, you first have to do day-wise plan. What things you are going to do, what places you are going to visit, what is the proximity of that to public transport, metro stations, etc. What actually you are going to cover, what you are not going to cover. So objective change when you go on a tour with family, with friends. So accordingly, make sure you plan your places and then finalize a plan first, what things you are going to visit. So I'm going to tell you day wise how we actually planned the things and what is the costing of that. So coming to day 1, we landed on the airport at around 10 a.m. on 2nd of October. Then we visited Jewel, which is the tallest indoor waterfall in the world, and it is just a free attraction at Terminal 1. Second was the Gardens by the Bay, which includes Flower Dome, Cloud Forest, and the night show. Which is light and sound show at 7:40 and 8:40 p.m., which is free. But the entry to Flower Dome and Cloud Forest is totally around 1,131 rupees I spent on that. And I am telling you all these conversions, which actually I made in INR. So that's why I have the INR numbers. So I'm just not converting it, but I have actually spent it that in terms of INR through agent. So there is an agent. If possible, I can give you the number of that agent in description box below. So you can just contact that agent who is based in Singapore, Little India, and you can, Google Pay him or can do NEFT in his bank based in Mumbai, and it will work for you. So if you are based in India, it would be great to, spend actually in Indian rupees. So you would be less worried about doing expenditure there. So that's about day 1. On day 2, we booked Universal Studios Singapore. So park opens at 8 a.m. and it is open till 8 p.m. We booked it at a cost of 3,342 rupees. We booked the normal pass and not the express one because our objectives were clear. We wanted to do all the attractions, roller coasters, and we were not at all interested in going to shows and going to movies which are there. So we covered all the roller coasters there. You can watch my vlog. That's why it is recommended that you can, cover all the things in normal pass as well. So there is no need as such to book an express pass, which will cost you double. On the second day after Universal Studios Singapore, we happened to experience Wings of Time show, which is firecrackers, light, water show, and amazing show, a must visit, which is also based on Sentosa Island. And it costed us 624 rupees only because we booked through agent. The main, I would say, benefit of booking through agent is you would get the tickets at much lower prices than the actual MRPs of the attractions if you go directly to the counters in Singapore and book. So my recommendation is do a pre-planning and book as much as you can before you actually visit the place. So yeah, that's about day 2. On day 3, we did National Museum of Singapore and Singapore Flyer. Now I'll tell you the benefit of booking on tour as well. So when I will explain that, then let me come on that point later on. So on day 4, we did Bukit Timah Trek, which is free, which is the highest point of Singapore. So if you are a trek lover, then don't miss that. Do that for sure. So after doing trek, we visited Botanical Garden. There is National Orchid Garden as well in Botanic Garden itself. We booked ticket of that inside only, and there is no pre-booking for that. After that, in the evening, we visited Merlion Park and the Clarke area, which is a very spectacular area. You will get a landscape view of Marina Bay Sands, then the Merlion and the Formula One track, etc. So it's also, there is no any entry cost for that. You can just go there, visit, have some photo shoot, relax. And after that, the plan was to do a pub crawl. So Singapore pub crawl is a pub hopping and hop off, which we did. We visited 5 pubs. You can of course check out my vlog for detailed experience. That costed me around 1,293 rupees. We booked that through a Singapore pub crawl website, which is official website. On day 5, we visited Sentosa Island again. To cover the remaining places and attractions on Sentosa Island, first we visited the southernmost point of continental Asia. That is the point which is located on Palawan Beach. So on Palawan Beach, you have to walk a little bit on a bridge to reach southernmost point of continental Asia. Then we did Skyline Luge. So we did 2 rides of that. There are 3 to 4 options. You can do 2 rides, you can do 4 rides, and you can do 8 rides. So we did it 2 times, and it costed us 884 rupees for Skyline Luge. So it's a must visit attraction on Sentosa Island, a luge ride. Then we booked Sentosa Merlion View, which is the Sentosa Merlion. The Merlion based on Sentosa is the tallest Merlion in Singapore. You would be granted access inside the Merlion if you pay 463 rupees. You will be able to go inside its jaw. You will be able to go on its top, on the head, and you will be able to experience the 360-degree view of the Sentosa Island. Then the next attraction was Horror Nights. So Horror Nights was a limited period event in Universal Studios Singapore. It was a Halloween period in September, October. So we happened to visit that. And it was a really scary experience, I can say. Also, one thing to note about Horror Nights, it costed us 2,841 rupees. Then on day 6, we visited Jurong Bird Park, and it costed us 1,040 rupees. Coming to day 7, we did a city tour. We visited some local temples there. So next to our Green Delhi Backpackers Hostel, there is one Buddha temple which we happened to visit. We of course visited Chinatown because the Buddha Tooth Relic Temple, which is a famous temple, is located there. And we also happened to visit some of the temples in Little India area, which were Hindu temples, South Indian temples. And entry to all temples is free. So on day 7, there was nothing cost of attractions we actually incurred. So if we do total of all these pre-bookings, it comes to 16,345. Now coming to on-tour booking. So on day 3, we visited National Museum of Singapore. Ticket of National Museum of Singapore cannot be booked through agent. So that's why we booked it on venue itself. So National Museum of Singapore costed us 795 rupees. And then we visited Singapore Flyer in the evening. We entered the ride on such a time that we would get 15 minutes in daylight and 15 minutes after the sunset. Ticket to Singapore Flyer cannot be pre-booked because if there is a rain, then Singapore Flyer gets closed for some time. Ticket to Singapore Flyer costed us 1,749 rupees. And then on day 4, we visited Orchid Garden, which costed us 265 bucks. So totaling on tour attraction expenses, it actually costed us 2,809 rupees. Then coming to third part of this video, conveyance and food. So here, as first let me tell you about the conveyance. The Singapore city is small and the metro network, the public transport is excellent there. If your friends are fit and ready to walk, then it is recommended that you should use public transport extensively. So conveyance included my metro, bus and taxi cost. Taxi cost, why I use taxi? In Horror Nights, we left the venue at around 12 p.m. The public transport was closed. And second, in the pub crawl, we actually were at Clarkey near 3-4 a.m. So, of course, public transport was not actually available at that point of time. So, to tell you, whenever you land on airport, first take a MRT card, which is a smart card type of a thing. There would be $5 expense, which is non-refundable, and rest of the money you upload on that can be used for your travel. And there is 7-Eleven shop, you can actually buy things from that balance itself. So it's a very useful card for conveyance purpose in Singapore. So around we spent 30 SGD plus 5 non-refundable SGD, which comes to 35 SGD, and I have bought Singapore dollars at 53 rupees. So converting that to Indian rupees, it costed me 1,855 for conveyance. And to tell you whether Singapore public transport is expensive or not, it is really not expensive. If you travel from one part of the Singapore to the farthest part of the city, then also it would cost around 100 rupees. That is $2, 2 SGD. Another thing that reminds me at this point of time is you can download City Mapper app from Google Play Store. This is if you are in Mumbai, then there is M Indicator app. It is some higher version of that, you can say. You can get to know the live tracking of all the buses. So City Mapper is very useful app. Coming to food. Total food expenses were 10,282 rupees. Now, important thing to tell you that I am vegetarian, so it didn't cost me actually much. If you are non-vegetarian, then it might go some higher side. Then to tell you about how I spent 10,282 rupees, if I divide it by 7 days, 2 times a day, and with conversion rate of 53 rupees, it actually came to around 13.85 Singapore dollars per meal. We also tried some local dessert, which is kanchang, then also tried durian ice cream. So that is all included in this food expenses. So if we see total cost of food and conveyance, then it comes to 12,137 rupees. So now summarizing all the costs. So first, ticket and visa, which comes to 25,923 rupees. Next, pre-planning and booking the attractions cost, which comes to 16,346 rupees. On-tour booking expenses, 2,809 rupees. Conveyance and food, 1,855 plus 10,282, which comes to 12,137 rupees. So total cost, including all pin to plane, comes to only 57,215 rupees. And if you happen to book the return air ticket, then you can save upon 5,000 rupees, and it would cost you around 52,000 all the trip for 6 nights and 7 days. So plan your trip accordingly. Before ending up this video, I want to tell you some tips. I got that Neo Global card, which is a forex card on which there are no transaction charges applicable, no conversion costs are applicable. So if you are traveling overseas, it is widely accepted card, and you can just ping me or follow me on Instagram. Then I would be able to share the details of how to get that card. Second thing is, I can also give agents details about how I book the attractions there. So email me or contact me through Instagram, and I would be able to do that as well. Now the point comes to thank you as a viewer, and thanks to all support team which actually helped me a lot in planning this trip. So first it's Shruti Mehta, who helped me to plan whole of the itinerary. Then Anuj, who is my cousin who is based in Singapore, also helped me to coordinate with an agent there and to book the tickets. Pre-booking, he helped me a lot. Then Shweta, who is my aunt, who helped me in visa. Also, you would be able to see two faces, Ganesh and Jay, in my vlog behind there somewhere walking, having a fun around. So thanks for them for tolerating me in my whole vlogging experience, and also for supporting in my vlog. And last but not the least, my techie guy who actually inspired me to do vlogging, to use the technology to the fullest, to edit this vlog, to edit all the videos, to upload them, to use YouTube and etc. So Tanmay Sakpal, who is that? One thing to mention about Tanmay is he also do vlogs. So you can check out his personal channel Tanmay Sakpal and follow him as well. Then second most important thing before I actually end up this videos, what all attractions I excluded. So generally people don't talk about that, but as I want to share my whole of the experience, I would tell you that what actually I excluded from this trip. So there was Changi War Museum, Asian Civilization Museum, Parannakan Museum, Art and Science Museum, Night Safari, Singapore Zoo, and there are some attractions on Sentosa Island like Adventure Co Park, Mega Zip, Mega Bounce, Head Rock VR, AJ Hackett, Go Green, Segway, Butterfly and Insect Kingdom, which we avoided to visit. Another thing was Marina Bay Sands Sky Park, on which you would get to experience the aerial view of whole the city if you pay 23 SGD. So we avoided that because we did Singapore Flyer and you would get a similar view from there as well. Then Orchard Road, Haw Villa, Southern Regis and Fort Canning. We didn't cover these attractions as well. So thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel and I would be keep posting whenever I travel. I would also like to see your comments, and if there are any specific queries, then would be happy to help you guys. So thanks for watching, guys. Give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.